Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to learn how to write a professional resume, a key document that represents you before you even speak to an employer. Let me start with a simple question. When do you actually need a resume? There are two common situations. When a recruiter asks you to apply in writing, you need to turn in a resume as well as a cover letter. We will teach you how to compose a cover letter next time. Another situation is visiting recruitment fairs. What are recruitment fairs? They are activities to teach students more about the industry in the workplace. When you visit these fairs, you have the opportunity to talk to real professionals from the workplace. And if you have a resume ready, you can turn in a hard copy or a QR code to the organizations. And remember, your resume is not just for others, it is also for you. It can be helpful when it comes to remembering key dates and details for your previous roles in educations. Okay. And your resume can also help you answer questions in job application forms or questions in a job interview better. So, think of your resume as both a marketing tool and a personal database. And more importantly, remember to update it regularly. Now, what makes an effective resume? There are three key criteria. In terms of format, you have to ask, does it look clean and inviting? Is it too crowded or is it too empty? You have to present the right amount of text. You don't want to overwhelm your reviewer or bore your reviewers. When it comes to content, is the language professional? Um, and are your sentences clear and precise? Finally, structure. Can the reader quickly find important information? Remember, recruiters generally have 6 to 10 minutes on your resume. They won't read every single one carefully. So, your job is to make their reading fast and effortless. Let's go over some basic rules. First, length, no more than 2 pages. Second, it should follow a clear and logical structure. It should be readable. The font should be consistent. If you use Times Roman, use it from head to toe. And the font size should be 11 to 12. Headings should be bold so that the information is clear, and headings can also help you organize the information logically. Remember to keep the presentation simple. Less is more. Okay, you do not need to use unnecessary decoration. And remember not to make grammatical and spelling mistakes. Let me be very clear. One small mistake can cost you an interview, so always proofread. There are 5 components to be included in your resume. A complete resume usually starts with your name and then education, followed by your experience, and sometimes you may even include your activity and interest. We will talk about most of the components one by one in the following slides. Now I would like to spend some time on references. What are references? People your recruiters can call to ask for questions. So when you put down the contact information of your references, remember to give them a heads up. Otherwise, they will be caught off guard. And this is definitely unideal. Okay? And before we move on, remember to be selective and prioritize the information, okay, you include on your resume. Your resume is not a life story, okay? It is a strategic document for a specific job position. Okay, for personal information, you should include your name, phone number, and address. Okay, email address. You can put the information in the center, on the left, or on the right. Okay, and for education, always start with your most recent degree. For example, PhD, MA, and BA here. We do not follow a chronological order in resume writing. The order shows your academic development clearly. Okay, and remember not to start from the oldest one. You start from the most current one. And we actually follow the same order for job experience or work experience. And work experience is the most important section. There are several key rules. Okay, as we mentioned, do not start from the oldest one. You start from the most current one. And more importantly, you have to specify the company, position, and the span of time you work for this position. You cannot just list. You have to talk about your duties with specific examples. And we do not describe your duties in sentences. We use verbs at the start of the sentence. One important reminder for verb tense: for current jobs, we use present tense. In previous jobs, we use past tense. When you describe your job duties, we use action verbs. Say you are applying for a position for the creative industry, you might use conceptualize, illustrate, and develop in the beginning of every single description. And for another example, if you are applying for a teaching position, you may use instruct, advise, or guide in the beginning of every description. And remember to follow this formula when you describe your experience. Start with results, and then method, and finally tool. For example, increase outreach by 75% by redesigning social media posts and thumbnails using Photoshop and Lightroom. Reduce data latency from 2 weeks to 3 days by building SQL database and streamline tablet dashboards. Both examples follow the formula impact, how you did it, and the tool you used. More example for your reference. For current job, you use present tense. For jobs that are already in the past, use past tense. Okay? And for each description, we use an action verb. We do not use full sentences. And we also need to remember to avoid using adjective, okay? We should avoid using adjectives like excellent, superb, or outstanding. Okay, why? Because these adjectives are subjective. There might be a discrepancy in the understanding of what's good and what's bad, and they are not convincing. If you use too many adjectives like this sort, your resume is conducting an ineffective communication with your future employers. So show, don't tell. All right, sometimes students worry about gaps in their resume. What are gaps? If you stop working for 5 years, that's a significant gap, and your interviewer will definitely ask you questions for that gap. So what is the strategy to take when you take questions like these? Okay, you must be honest and frame it positively, shift focus to your strengths. For example, you can say, during these 5 years, I uh, have taken several classes to acquire my skills, or you travel or did some volunteering that can help you learn some valuable lessons, so on and so forth. Okay, so don't panic, just explain strategically. Okay, now we have walked you through the do's and don'ts of writing a resume, and you understand the principle. It's time for you to apply them. Here is an optional individual task. Okay, just a second. Here is an optional individual task you can work on. I will show you two sample resumes on Trunk class. For each resume, I would like you to evaluate their strengths and weaknesses in terms of format, content, and structure. And more importantly, after you finish reading them, will you be able to know what their unique selling points are and what do each applicant specialize in? And in your opinion, which one is better? Okay, this is an optional task just to check your comprehension. And you do have a required task. Remember to compose your own resume by putting what you learned in this video into practice. All right, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you.